Sandy, it's nice to have you here. You seem to have all the newest equipment, the newest software, the newest everything for what I call just doing regular scrapbooking. But this cutter machine does a lot more than just cut paper, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, and it actually appeals to a lot of other hobbies. Today what I'm going to show you is that you can do more than just cut with this machine. You can also engrave, you can emboss, you can punch, you can use it to draw with gel pens or markers or whatever. So the first thing I wanted to show you was definitely, how to do etching. So what I do is I have a sheet of aluminum here on the mat.
Is that like this?
This one's copper, yes.
This is copper.
Okay. And what I'm going to
aluminum.
do is aluminum. And so what I have in the screen here, I have an S, and there's a function in the software called banner fill. And what banner fill does, instead of just doing the outline, like when you're cutting something, it just cuts the outline.
Sure.
What banner fill does is going to go back and it's going to fill it in.
Oh, okay.
Which is exactly what you would want, when you're doing etching. So I'm going to select it, and the etching part I want is just the black part, so I'm going to just turn on black.
Unclick the red.
And then I'm going to click on cut, and then the etching tool. Now notice I have a blade holder in here, but instead of a blade, I have an engraving tool.
Oh, so there's different tools. Is that what all of these are?
Yes. All right, and it's done. And these need to be on a very sticky mat so that it doesn't shift during the process.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that pretty?
It really is. It looks like real engraving. That is nice. And so fast, too.
You
now,
can also,
this was aluminum. You said this is on copper, but it's the same fill
same
concept.
process.
Bigger, much bigger diagram.
Yes.
That took about, what, 30 seconds maybe?
Right,
and this
right. And that probably
take
takes
about a
about
minute.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. But the good thing is once you get it set up, you can go have a cup of coffee or something
You
while
can
it's
when
working.
it's engraving, absolutely, yes.
Okay, now what is
This is vellum, and I
vellum.
love the way it looks on vellum because it turns white, and it just gives you the most beautiful look.
And usually vellum just is clear. You put something under it, so this really creates a beautiful
Now
design.
this one here is hard acrylic, and again, I'm just using the engraving tool to just fill in this beautiful flower and the lettering. And there's a lot of scrapbookers. That's kind of real popular now to have these album covers that are made out of the hard acrylic. And so,
because then
like
your
I said,
colored
this
album.
is a way to personalize it. You can put anything on there. You could put your initials on there. You could put a date on there.
Your
Whatever
name.
you'd like to have on it. Now this next one, instead of using the engraving tool, I actually took an embossing tool and put it into the machine, and I embossed this snowflake. And then what I did is, this is one of these cardstocks that has an internal core that's a different color. And so then after I did the embossing, I took some sandpaper and just gently kind of rubbed it with the sandpaper to bring out that color that was inside.
Wow.
But I also want to note that on paper and in cardstock, you can use your own embossing tools directly inserted into the machine, and then basically do the same process, but instead of using the very hard engraving tool, you're using something a little softer, which is the embossing tip.
Now this, you said, is
This
actually
is for
made
people who
something different.
don't want to use embossing tools. They want to do, or here's the other thing. Let's say you're going to create something and you need to make 50 of them.
Oh, okay.
In this case, you might want to use, and this is called embossing rubber, and what you do is you're going to cut out the image. You have your image, and then in the software you can do the reverse of it.
So it's
and
like
then
a negative.
And because it has an adhesive on it, you just stick them onto these embossing folders so that they match up, which is actually very easy. What you do is you put one of them on here, then you stick this inside here, close it, and then allow it to stick to the other side. Then you have an embossing folder that you can then use. Where did my little squares? Here they are.
So you put that in between, sandwich it kind of.
Exactly, and you can do this on a card or whatever. And then you can, and I have actually a little embosser tool here, but you could use the Sizzix or Quick Cuts or any of the common ones that the scrapbookers purchase. And then you just press it, and then it puts the image
Well, how
right onto the
cute.
little card. And so I did this card right here where I did a border along the bottom.
It's a real subtle look. That's
Right.
kind of nice.
It is. And if you need it to stand out more, you can do things like chalk over it or ink over it to make it stand out a little bit more. And then here's an example, like a little card I did. I did my initials, and then and then press it onto a card.
That's neat.
And these folders, you can also use any kind of plastic folders, and they make them much larger so that, if you need to get into like the middle, of a card,
Yeah,
you can
it'd
do
be
that.
longer.
Now this one here, we have another tool called the punch tool, and what it's used is to actually punch holes in your cardstock. So for example, if you're into paper embroidery, which I did here, I just had like this swirl, and I just had it go in and just punched holes all the way through here for me, and then I just went through and did the
thread.
embroidery thread, right. And then sewed it. Now the other use of the punch tool is people who are into Dutch paper crafting. And again, what it did, it just punched. In this case, the holes, these are spaced out about 1/4 of an inch. In this case, they're
just
very close together.
Okay, I hope we have time to do this because I think this is just amazing. You made this little
Right, you're not
bookmark or
able, in
invitation.
your printer, you can't print on black cardstock. Yet there are times when you go, gee, I'd love to have some lettering on black cardstock. And everybody knows you can buy these gel pens. And the gel
Silver
pens.
and gold.
Right,
and,
right. And they'll write on there. But again, you go, wow, I want, I can't do it myself with my own lettering. I'd like to have something do it for me. Well, again, this pen will insert directly into the machine.
Show us how that's done.
We take our sheet of cardstock. And I'm going to remove these strips because we don't need them.
I just think that's fascinating that this is how you do that engraving tool too, the same concept.
Absolutely, yes. Make sure
This is real
press our
sticky, so
cardstock
it
down.
sticks to it.
Yes, you want to make sure it has good contact. And then we're going to remove our etching tool, and I'm going to insert
The actual pen,
the
just
pen.
pen
yes.
that you bought at
We
the
drop the pinch
crafts.
wheel so it stays tight. And then I just tighten this in. And then lift it just a little bit. Just like so. And then I'm going to do a test just to make sure it draws.
Make sure the
It needs
pen's
to-
good, of course.
That's right. And I need to increase the pressure up. Okay.
This would be especially good if you wanted to make a bunch.
That's right.
And, you just don't have time to sit and hand letter every one of them.
Right.
So you could pick any font that the
Okay,
computer
there we
has,
go.
right?
Exactly. All right.
do
And
the
now we're
S.
just going to do the same S again. I'm going to come back
Okay.
here again and hit cut.
It says cut, but it's really printing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Is there, other than wood, is there much of anything that this thing won't cut?
Well, actually, it does cut wood.
Oh, it does?
It does.
Okay.
It'll cut both balsa wood and birch wood.
Well, I'll be. I remember when the first cutters came out, and of course it took forever to set them up, and then it would cut one letter, and you'd have to wait and put another
Right.
piece of paper in.
Okay.
Oh, how pretty.
There you go.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's my little test down there, and then this is the letter that was drawn in silver ink.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much. There's so many fun things you could do with this. You could just stay busy all day, couldn't you?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.